You don't have to be a good person to use the law of mind or to use the power of God in your life. You just simply don't. It's not part of the program. Somewhere in the Old Testament, it says God makes his rain to fall on the just and the unjust alike. And other places it says God is no respecter of persons. These things are really quite true. If you used chemistry as an example, no one would ever say that, well, in order to be a chemist, you have to be a good person, or only good people could do chemistry. It sounds absurd when we say something like that. The same thing applies to spiritual work. You do not have to be a good person. And that's why, we have, in history has shown us that there have been many powerful people who were pretty terrible, not just bad, but terrible. But the law works for them just like it works for a saint. This might have something to do with people when they say, well, how could God let something like this happen? And again, it's just a misunderstanding. They don't get the nature of the thing that we're living in. It's impersonal. There's a personal aspect to it, but it's also impersonal. And it just as impersonal as electricity is impersonal, or fire is impersonal. Fire is a marvelous thing, but it can kill you. You can use it to heat your home, or it can burn the house down. These energies we're talking about are like that. And this is primarily why in mystery schools that we consider what selflessness is. We don't want to draw people who want to use these principles and these forces for selfish reasons. For a couple of reasons, we don't want to do that. And one is because they could wreak a lot of havoc for a lot of people. And the other reason, they can do great damage to themselves, because it would be like an electrician taking an apprentice that wasn't careful, or like a fire department hiring an arsonist, for instance. You just wouldn't do that. All kinds of examples you can give where people who with knowledge and expertise with that knowledge can do some pretty selfish and destructive things. And we have to watch ourselves too, because when you start to use the law of prayer really seriously, and you start to see that your word will manifest and that you can actually get your prayers answered just by the way you manage your mind, then there's a great responsibility in that. So you have to be careful, because if you get into a funk, or if you get angry at somebody, and this will happen, if you get angry with somebody, you never want to let yourself have destructive thoughts about that person, you see, because then you're slipping over into a whole nother area, and that will take you down. Because people who do that, usually they either go insane or they just cause themselves so much difficulty that they leave. And so we want to be careful of ourselves, because we're human and we have these tendencies towards revenge. Some people call it justice when it's actually revenge. We want to be careful not to fall into that trap. We don't want to engage in gossip, because you don't know if what you're saying about somebody is true or not, even if it's good. Even if you're saying something good, you don't want to put that in the way of the person's unfoldment, because your word has power. Your thoughts have power.